This is The Brief, a series where Adobe sends creators like me a box of inspirational items so I can make an amazing piece of art. Hello, my name is Jackie. I'm a character designer for Disney TV. I've also done projects for Netflix, Warner Brothers, Nickelodeon, etc. But when I'm not making movies, I like to share my art with the world and teach. Okay, so let's begin with the box. The box of goodies that Adobe sent me. The ask. Create a hero or villain character that incorporates qualities you like most about yourself. Easy peasy. I like a lot of things about me. Okay, what do we have here? We have some elf ears. This is perfect. My D&D character was an elf, so I relate. We have some charcoal sticks, an opposable wooden mannequin. I actually really like these ears. When I think of elf ears, I think of hot. I think of sexy. I think we can work with that. Okay, and then we have an item prompt. Grab an item you love from your wardrobe and make it a prominent piece of your character. So I'm thinking elf ears, I'm thinking charcoal sticks. It's really easy to go the fantasy route, but I think my current obsession will do this character better. 1 second. For the past year, I've been going to Muay Thai classes, and I have the feeling that this elf has also been going to kickboxing. So this is the vibe. So here's the inspiration. So I like being determined, passionate, let's say ruthless for the sake of this character. And that's what I will be projecting onto her. So let's start sketching. So when I started sketching this piece, let me tell you, it took, I think, over an hour to just do the sketching portion. I went through like maybe 10 variations. I couldn't sit with anything that I was drawing. This is the furthest one that came along. This piece right here, I thought maybe she was a hero. I put her in very light clothes, and then I switched it to dark. Maybe she's a villain, but I just couldn't get behind the anatomy. It wasn't working for me, so I tried to go back into the sketching phase. I tried a few more variations of design before I think I settled onto this one. I really wanted the vibe to be she just came out of a round of boxing and she's exhausted, she's tired, she's angry, and she's covered in sweat. This pose started to sit with me a little bit better, and at this point I opted to switch out the boxing gloves for just wraps. I feel like the gloves were a little too clunky. She's so sleek, I feel like it wasn't fitting. It wasn't in the world. So I started to do the same lighting that I did in that first piece that I really liked, and at this point I decided that she was like a villain or like an anti-hero kind of character. I'm playing around with 3 different light sources to really make the piece feel dramatic and super moody. So now that I have my concept sketch ready, it's time to start lining. I really want to keep these lines kind of rough and loose. It's not my style to really have imperfect lines. And sometimes hands, they don't come to you. Sometimes hands are a later me problem, you know what I mean? No reference, just thoughts and prayers. I'm filling in the silhouette of this character, and I begin blocking out the colors. And I'm just color picking from my original concept sketch because all the colors are already done, so why reinvent the wheel? And when I'm adding new colors like her lips and her eyes, I'm color picking existing colors from my palette because I don't want to just invent random colors. The colors on the page work, so I'm gonna stick to it. So I thought I could lean into the villain look by making her eyelashes white and her eye whites black. I thought that would make her really spooky and edgy, but I just didn't end up liking the contrast of it. And after rendering the skin a little bit more, I kind of flicked between 2 variations, and then I realized I think I like it better with more normal looking eyes. Maybe it's a little bit distracting. As I begin painting the top, I head over to Adobe Stock to find some textures to throw in there. So I find a cool woven texture that works, and I import it into my file. I select the shirt, invert my selection, and delete the texture that's not on the shirt. And then I play with some overlays to make it fit in the character. And voila, we have some easy textures. Why draw more when you can draw less? I begin rendering out the rest of the piece, focusing on form and texture. And then I move on to the part that I was least excited for, the hair. And that's because I don't know how to draw braids. I feel like I've drawn so many braids over my life, and I still have no idea how to do it. Reference who? Looking at pictures of braids so I can actually know what it looks like, huh? Now in this house, I'm moving on to details, like the little bit of a ribbon I think is kind of cool. You know, maybe this isn't practical, but it sure is hot. I really want to up the sweatiness of her. I want her to look shiny, soaking wet. And thank God I get to put this overhead lighting on to cover those braids up. No one needs to see that. Adding some blue rim lighting, adding some bounce light from maybe the arena, add some different lighting to really emphasize that mood a little bit. And finally, before I forget, I throw in some charcoal on her face, all over her body. It's kind of like her war paint. And then as a final step, I add some final details that I think will improve the piece, make some things pop a little bit more, changing a couple of the colors here and there, throwing on gradients. an RGB split, some noise, and of course some dust particles, very important. And what am I doing if I'm not adding just a little bit more sweat? And then I finally put the pen down because I can go forever. I can just keep going and going. So here's the final illustration. We got elf ears, we got charcoal, we've got hand wraps, we've got an anti-hero, we've got this determined, passionate elf person. I like to think that she's a noble in this elf society, and she's got to fight the main queen, the main elf, to save her father's land or something. The background is really subtle, but it really places her in an environment, which is important. The red bounce light kind of gives her this villainous glow that I think is really neat. The blue rim light is a nice little contrast, a little pizzazz, and it ties in the blue of the background and her hand wraps. She's sweaty, she's angry, she's giving, she's mothering. So I'm very happy with this piece. Let me know what you think. So check out more episodes of The Brief right here, and you can start creating your own art with the free trial of Adobe Creative Cloud. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to Adobe, or else, and I'll see you next time. Bye!